Welcome to today's webinar, What's New in Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2015, brought to you by Archer Point and Microsoft. If you're a Microsoft Dynamics NAV user and are wondering what the buzz is about around NAV 2015, our plan in today's session is to take you through an enlightening look into the exciting features in this latest release of Dynamics NAV. Our presenter today is Tom Taylor, a partner technology strategist with Microsoft. A 20-year veteran of the ERP world, Tom has worked with Microsoft Dynamics NAV for 10 years. Since 2007, he's been using his broad knowledge of the product and other Microsoft technologies to provide Dynamics NAV partners with readiness support. He has also served as a corporate IT professional for 16 years, providing business insight tools to management teams across a global organization. In just under an hour today, Tom will demonstrate NAV's tablet experience, its document reporting capabilities through integration with Microsoft Word, an enhanced visual and user experience, Office 365 integration, and more. We will have a Q&A at the end of Tom's presentation. You can either type your questions in the questions pane of your GoToWebinar console as we go along, or use the raise your hand option to ask your question verbally. I will announce the person asking the question and unmute your line at that time. We've got a lot to cover, so let's get started. Tom, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Suzanne, and welcome Dynamics NAV customers. I'd like to begin today's presentation with our slogan, a business solution from Microsoft that's quick to implement, easy to use, and has the power to support small, medium business ambition. And in today's presentation, I'd like to cover these three areas around quick to implement, easy to use, and power to support. Today's demonstration will be via the Microsoft Cloud. However, you'll notice at the bottom right-hand corner of this slide that we also, the same functionality I demonstrate today is available on-premise. And we'll also have an opportunity to look at the various clients that Dynamics NAV supports as far as the Windows client, the web client, and as Suzanne mentioned, the new tablet client. So with that, let's go ahead and get started on the quick to implement. Now, Dynamics NAV was announced as generally available on October the 1st. So it is in market today. It's been in market for approximately a little over 2 months. And cumulative update number 2 has been released, I think about 10 days ago that was released. And we'll expect cumulative update number 3 to be released in the January of 2015 timeframe. And I'll talk a little more about that later on in the presentation. So as we look at the quick to implement, it consists really of 3 components. Rapid Start Implementation is a tool that replaced something called data migration back in NAV 2009. And this Rapid Start Implementation was introduced in May of 2013, a couple of years ago. And it helps our partners to be able to quickly be able to initialize a new installation of Dynamics NAV. And it allows you to bring data in, your master data, configuration tables and stuff to quickly create a new implementation, a new company. And what's been added in NAV 2015 is the ability to be able to take values and map from one value to another. For example, maybe the currency code for, let's say, the US dollar would be USD in your existing system, and when you convert to NAV, you're going to change that to US, for example. And so you have ability in the Rapid Start when you bring data in, you can map from USD to US dollars. There's also a tool provided that allows you, it's actually a new object, a report object, that you can use to easily convert data in decimal and regional formats during the Rapid Start implementation. So that's the first piece of enhancements in NAV 2015. The next area is around actually upgrading the code from one version to another. And this is introduced and is called Application Merge Utilities. So it helps partners or customers that have developers that do their own upgrades to be able to move from one version to another. And it allows you to take all the objects in the Dynamics NAV development environment in the current application, in the current version, and be able to export those out into a text format. And then be able to take your prior version, say NAV 2013 R2, and then compare that to NAV 2013 R2 with enhancements that you've made to the code, for example. And you run this, and it creates a delta set of the code changes between 2013 R2 and your current 2013 R2 with your extended application code. Then you take those code changes and you apply those to the new version, NAV 2015. And this reduces the amount of a code and helps the comparison of code drastically and being able to do the code merge. And this can be done in the development environment, as well as also provided with PowerShell scripting that was introduced in NAV 2013 R2. And this allows you to run the code upgrade for multiple companies at the same time. The last piece of Rapid Start is around the actual data upgrade and being able to take maybe new fields you've added to the application, or fields that an independent software vendor, ISV, has added, and be able to reorganize those table structures. And again, this is a tool for partners or customers that have developers that can actually enhance the data upgrade process. And there's actually a new code unit that's been introduced in NAV that allows you to actually handle the execution on the server of the change in the data layout. And so this really minimizes the number of manual actions you actually have to do in the upgrade process, and is less error prone. So that takes care of the Rapid Start pieces of Dynamics NAV. And next I want to jump into what's easy to use. And first we'll look at the tablet experience, then we'll look at user experience enhancements, simplicity, office integration, and document reporting. So let's take a look at what we mean by tablet experience. So in NAV 2015, we've launched a new application that runs on a tablet, a device that is 7 inches or larger. And it's optimized for touch, as well as it runs on multiple devices. This tablet experience connects to the service tier of Dynamics NAV, and you go out to your Windows Store, to the Apple iTunes Store, or Google Play to actually download devices for Windows, iPads, or Androids. And this user experience is very fluid, and as I mentioned, is optimized for touch. And it supports basically the entire Dynamics NAV 2015 application. As well as the development environment in Dynamics NAV can be used. One development environment, it's the same development environment we use for the Windows and the web clients, is also used to be able to extend the tablets client. So without any further ado, let's take a look at the NAV 2015 tablet experience. And today I will demonstrate this on a Windows device. However, it works on the iPad, as well as I mentioned on the Androids. And just to note, this is version 1.0 of the applications, and very soon there'll be another version 1.1 of the tablet applications. So please keep an eye on the stores, whether it be Windows, Apple, or the Google stores, to get the latest version. Now, I've already loaded the Windows application onto my laptop here. I'm not using a tablet device. I'm using a laptop because that's what I'm presenting with. But the tablet would be much smaller. And I'm going to log in as Veronica and go ahead and enter in her password. Now, this is a one-time deal, entering the username and password after you put the, and you'll notice there, the service tier is the NAV 2015 TPT US1. And this environment's running in the Microsoft Cloud on Azure, and I'm attaching with my laptop to that service tier. Now, as Veronica logs in here, the next time I would launch this app on my tablet, it's not going to require that I actually have to log in. So if I was simply to close this application and then jump back out to my Windows and relaunch the tablet app, you'll notice now that I don't have to log in because it already remembers my login privileges and it jumps me right into the tablet application. So we're looking now at a role center on the tablet app, and you'll notice on the left-hand side we have our activity queues. We have some getting started stuff, which I'm actually going to hide. And in this process, you'll notice that we have the 3 dots and then the hamburger that's next to that. So the 3 dots basically present to us the ribbon in the tablet experience. And what I'm going to do for right now, I'm going to show and hide the getting started and go ahead and say OK, and then refresh my tablet, and then I'll remove those additional things out of the activity queues. And now I have these activity queues, you'll notice, in the tablet experience. I've got my favorite customers. I've got key performance indicators here that I can select. So for example, right now I was looking at my aged accounts receivable, but I could easily switch to my top 10 customer values here by simply selecting the key performance indicators, and then now I'm seeing the top 10 customers. And these are drill downs that I can drill down and actually see the entries of each of this off of the tablet client. If I scroll down, then you'll notice that in a few minutes we'll look at this same profile in the web client and in the Windows client, and you can see that we organize the activity queues on the left-hand side, and the other parts of the role center are in this main area. So we have a trial balance here that we're displaying, as well as also in NAV 2015 we have a report inbox. And all these various reports I ran at the time that you execute the reports in NAV 2015, when you get ready to print, you can say schedule report. And I scheduled each of these reports, and you'll notice they can be viewed in PDF, in Word, or Excel by simply clicking on the links. And I can even filter these to only look at unread reports versus all reports that I have in the application. Now, in the trial balance here, for example, I can actually drill down into revenue just like I would do in a Windows or web client. So here I'm going to click on the revenue, and you'll notice what happens. It now opens up my chart of accounts, and it shows the entry off of that mini form trial balance, and it shows my balance, which now I can drill down here and actually get the individual ledger entries from that. Now, with this tablet experience also integrates with the other Office productivity products. So, for example, my 3 buttons here are my ribbon, and I can actually open this list of ledger activities for my trial balance and open those into Excel. So what will happen here now for my tablet client is it will open up Excel, and it's using the web-based Excel because my user, Veronica, is authorized for Office 365. And so she's been set up that when she views documents in Excel, they launch Office 365, which is on the right-hand side here. You'll notice that I can edit this in Excel. I can share with people in my organization. I can refresh my data, as well as I can put comments and do and find on my actual report. And then if I simply want to return back to the tablet client, I can simply close this, and I'm back into the tablet. And if I want to back up to my actual first page of the tablet experience, now I'm back to the beginning. You'll also notice in my favorite customers, we also can do integration, in this case with Link, is which what I have installed on my laptop. But if you had Skype, the same integration would work. So I can take the Canon group here, for example, and if I click on that phone number, it's going to launch another app. And what it's going to do here is it will open up my Link, and then I can actually call here, out to Link, and it'll actually dial up, and then I can have an interaction. Now it's going to fail because I'm in a do not disturb mode, is why it's not allowing me to connect here in that specific example. So I'll go ahead and close this, and then actually here return back to the tablet client. So that gives you a feel of the fluidness of the tablet. If we hit the hamburger here, these are our navigation pane options. So if I wanted to see customers, for example, a full list, I could drill down this way. And if I wanted to open up the Canon group, I can use the 3 little dots, again, for my menu options, and I can edit and actually then update information through the tablet client. So again, gives you full access, uses the same licensing capabilities as the web client and the Windows client, and that gives you a glimpse of Dynamics NAV tablet client running on Windows. Now, as you can see, end users are absolutely ecstatic about the new tablet experience. You know, you really didn't get the feel, but if you put this in a 7-inch device and hold it from side to side with your thumbs, it's very easy to swipe and tap and navigate through Dynamics NAV. And it's also gives you the same look and feel and integrates with the Office platform for productivity, as well as it runs on a device of your choice. And so there's many possibilities with this tablet experience as you look at how you could use it with your customers and being able to provide better service. So the next area I wanted to cover is the area around the enhanced queues. And what this gives us the ability to do is we've always had the activities since NAV 2009. And activities basically in NAV 2009 consisted of filter views of documents that were going through processes. And what we've extended in NAV 2015 is we still have the ability to look at documents through process like open sales invoices, you can see here, and open purchase invoices. But we also have the ability to calculate numerical values and then present those with an indicator based upon thresholds that you set for the numerical values of each of these enhanced queues. And we really refer to these as key performance indicators. And these key performance indicators can be set at the customer level, and then each individual user that does a profile can then overwrite those the thresholds of the queue for what they specifically want to look at. Much like you can do with the personalizations in the role centers, you can do the same thing with the activity queues. So let's jump over and take a look at the web client in Dynamics NAV. So I'm going to jump over here to my order processor. And I'm logged in here actually as Spencer. And I think I want to be in here as a different user. So I'm just quickly here going to sign out. And I want to sign back in here as Veronica. So I'm going to sign in as Veronica. And notice that I'm using Office 365 here to log in with. So this is Veronica Q at Cronus US is my tenant that is on Azure. And I'll go ahead and put in her password. And then we can log in. I need to spell Veronica right. And we'll go ahead and put the password in. Go ahead and log in as Veronica. If I get that right, let's make sure Veronica Q. There we go. Third time was a charm. Now I'm logging in actually here to 365, and what I want to do is actually jump over to my web client. So from Office 365, I'm actually just with using the authorization mechanisms. I'm able to jump now to the web client. And what we can see here is on this web client, we have activities here, and we can set up these queues. And one of the things I want to do is you'll notice that like for overdue sales invoices here, as I open this window up, you can see the low range and the medium range, and then whether we set them as ambiguous or favorable, or these are the various values that you can set at each one at. And so if you look, for example, at sales by the month here, which is this line right here, you can see that anything that is over 60,000 is going to be ambiguous. If it reached 75, it would be favorable. If I want to set a threshold on my ongoing sales invoices, which I don't have set up, I can simply click up here and say if my threshold here is at 3, I want it to be ambiguous, and if it's 5, I'm going to make that favorable. So you can see it's very easy to personalize these to my specific needs versus what they're set at for the company. So now you can see I've personalized that, and in this case, I'm in an ambiguous mode based upon the number of ongoing sales invoices. And so these are still drill downs that allow us to drill down actually into that specific activity. But you'll notice if you look at the ones that are values like the top 10 customers year to date, my sales this month. Now this one would be a drill down showing the actual sales invoices. But if I went over and say look at my average collection days, that one does not have a drill down because that's strictly a calculated value. So that gives you a look at the feature we called enhanced cues and the ability to set up visual cues that you can then personalize based upon your specific needs. And again, this helps end users and customers to focus on important activities, and it's really a form of an operational BI. And it's color code indicated. You have better organizational messaging across your organization, and it works across all the clients, whether it be the tablet, the Windows, or web client. You're able to view the status of those operational BI dashboard. So the next area I'd like to touch on here is around the simplified UX. And what we've done here is actually released a new role center called the Small Business Role Center. And what this is a separate set of mini forms and pages and objects that are organized for a small business that basically does sales and purchasing. And that's the basic functions. So the small business profile doesn't have a different license. It's part of Dynamics NAV 2015. It's just a subset of, as I said, many forms and pages that is a more simplified process for small businesses. As well as also, in addition to that, outside of the small business role centers, we've also done simplifications in the application. For example, mandatory fields are keyed, as well as auto-filling the numbers. If on an order document you only have one set of numbers for that order document, the first field on the form will no longer be the actual document number. That's automatically assigned and placed on the header of the fields, as I will demonstrate. Also, we have totals on the documents and the ability in the simplifications based upon your license or based upon your permissions in your profile. We can actually limit what actually shows up on the screens, and I will demonstrate that as well. So without any further ado, let's jump into the application and take a look at the simplified UX. And I'm going to look at this actually through the Windows client. So what I need to do here is actually open up another Windows client that's showing that dashboard. So I'm going to right-click here and open a new window. And I'm going to log in here with Veronica. And you'll notice I log in with a couple different passwords. I've got a couple of different ways I can log in. I can log in with my Office 365 ID, as well as also I've got this service tier set up to log in with the username and password. So if I come in at it through the web, through Office 365, I use that ID. But if I use the Windows client or the Click Once clients, I'm actually using username and password. So let's go ahead and log in as Veronica here. And as we log in as Veronica, while that one's going in, I'll jump back over here to the web client. And what we can see is in this very simplified UI, this is the new profile, that the action pane is very simple, the navigation pane is very simple. You'll notice we only have sales invoices and purchase invoices and sales quotes. There are no sales orders or purchase orders in the small medium business profile. As well as also the setup here, everything you need to set up a company is right here in the menu. As well as also you can show some getting started information. So as I click this and refresh the screen, and I hid this just a moment ago from the tablet experience, you can see we've got a welcome video here we can play. Now you might not be able to hear the sound here, but this is a video that actually talks about more productivity, better teamwork and tighter communication that we can do with inside of Dynamics NAV. It's like a 2-minute video that you can play. As well as also, there's a video on the Rapid Start implementation, as well as this will jump you into the new server help information. So now right from that profile, I can see very easily there, and that failed, but that would have jumped me into my help server to show me how to set up and manage a business in Dynamics NAV. Now, there are different processes in this small business profile in Dynamics NAV. So let's go ahead and actually do a sales invoice, and let's do this for a new customer. So you notice when I open up the sales invoice in this profile, it doesn't show me an invoice number at this time. It prompts me for a customer name. So I'm going to put a new customer here, and go ahead and hit enter, and it recognizes that this customer does not exist in the application. So do you want to create a new customer? I'm going to say yes. And again, this is special logic around this new small business profile. I'm going to select a domestic customer, and then it opens up the window here where I can fill in my values for my customer. So I'm going to put like 4605, let's see, Main Street, let's say, and this is in Suite 800, and it's in Ohio, 45040, and in Mason, Ohio, let's say. And then I can set, you can see I can set different information up for my customer. So I'm just going to scroll to the bottom here and close this. And now it's set up a new customer record, and it's assigned my document number for the sales invoice 1026. And now what I'd like to do is go ahead and actually put in what I'm going to sell this customer. And in this situation here, I'm going to sell this customer a service and not an inventory item. You'll notice that on this window, for example, as I key in the amount here, actually I'm trying to get to, what I've done is, as part of the small business profile, we actually can define things in the item as either an inventory or a service. So in this case, I've defined a service item in this small business profile in these many forms, and I'll go ahead and say we're going to charge 6 hours for this, and extends it out. And you'll also notice on this SmallMedium, on this actually invoice, I now have my document total, so I can see $450 total amount. If I went ahead and put in another item here, let's say a 70,001, a couple of base panels, I can add those, and again, it'll update and give me my actual dollar amount. At this time, I can go ahead and post this to the application. Now, what's interesting is as I'm in these small mini forms, and I got a message here about that, probably because of this line here. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and delete that line, select this one, and we want to manage the lines. We want to delete the lines so I can post, and I'll go ahead and post this service item so we can come back here and actually do a post. Now at this point, what it will do, and we'll look at the posted invoice. The posted invoice from the many forms will appear in the posted invoice documents, along with, if you were using the full-blown NAV orders, it would be in the same posted file as those transactions. As well as, if I would close this, that's the actual posted invoice. If I'd go over to my customers here and actually locate that new customer, so I can just scroll down here in the web client and locate the new customer at the bottom, which is new customer here, I can see I have a balance of $450 in that process. So again, this gives you a little view of the simplifications, as well as, if you notice, as I open up these documents here, so go back to the Role Center and open up a new sales invoice again, you can see we also have mandatory fields. And so the customer name, the item number are mandatory for this mini sales invoice. And these mandatory fields can actually be set on the properties in the development environment in the application. Now, one of the things I want to demonstrate around the simplification, as I mentioned, is the elimination of and removal of elements based upon the user. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a search here. I'm going to go to users, and we're going to look at the user VM admin. And if I open up VM admin and do an edit on that, you'll see I've set the permissions for this user to use the foundation along with sales and receivables customers, so they can read customer entries and they can edit customers. That's all we're going to allow this user to do. So with that, then, I'm going to go back over here and now launch NAV 2015. And I want to log in with VM admin. And what you'll notice then is the navigation pane has been drastically reduced based upon those permissions that I put in VM admin. So this, for example, can see customers. They could edit customers, for example, here. So they can see a full customer list. They can edit. However, if I went into user personalizations, let's say here, to change something back on this customer, if I went to user personalization, notice user personalization, and if I try to execute this, and we try to jump into here, it should give me an edit area, or some things that will give you an edit area on when you actually go into that. So again, I go back to my home, and you can see a very simplified process in that. And if you try to access stuff that's outside of that, you will then get error messages based upon that. So, that's the simplified, or actually removing UI element removal based upon permissions in the application. And this is also controlled at the service tier level in Dynamics NAV. You actually have to go to the administration tool and say what level of security you want to use with UI removal. So as you can see, it's much easier. Page overviews, the mandatory fields make it very easy to know what you need to input. Auto-filling it's been turned on as long as you don't have additional document number series. It's very easy to do the invoice review because you can see your total amounts. Now I want to mention about these total amounts. In the North American version, if we went to order processor, the totals don't show up, and the reason for that is because of the calculation of U.S. taxes. If you're in the small business profile, you'll see those totals in there as I demonstrated. However, your partner can go in and actually implement that total line into the North American. That's something they can do for you. There's actually a blog that's out on the Dynamics blog about how to do that. And then again, also making it easier for users by simplifying the pages with UI element removal. Now, when it comes to Office 365, we've introduced the open standard authorization. I gave you a quick glimpse a minute ago. I went into Office 365 as Veronica, and then I launched the web client to demonstrate the capabilities of the SmallMedium profile. I'd like to go back to that now and show you some additional capabilities that we've made tighter integration between Office 365, Dynamics NAV, CRM, and Power BI. All of these tools giving you greater productivity tools, being able to satisfy your customers. So let's go back over here to the web client. And I'm going to return here from the web client back to Office 365. In this case here, you'll notice in my Office 365, I'm logged as Veronica. There are multiple team sites here. Now I'm in the team site, and actually what I'm displaying here is an Excel spreadsheet, and this was built based upon the account schedule KPI web services that were introduced in May of 2013 R2. But what I really want to show here is the fluidness of how, as I mentioned, we went to Office 365, we went over to Dynamics NAV Web Client by clicking on the link here in the navigation pane. We also can jump over here to CRM. So here I'm jumping from and using the same Veronica at Cronus US on Microsoft.com. I'm jumping to Dynamics CRM without having to log off and log back in. And for example here, if I went into my sales, for example, and into my accounts here, let's launch accounts, and now I'm in, and I want to look at all accounts, not my just active accounts. And if you remember, I set up a new customer a minute ago, and you can see here, this is the new customer that we just set up a minute ago over in Dynamics NAV. In the SmallMedium profile, that's now been integrated with the connector over to Dynamics CRM. And then I have the ability here to jump back over to Office 365, where here I've embedded my pages from Dynamics NAV into this sales site. And again, I can see the activity queues, the enhanced queues. I can see my charting and all the other things that we talked about earlier. The other thing I can do here is launch into Power BI. And all this is done, again, with using a Veronica as a single sign-in. So I launch Veronica here. And again, you can see this account schedule KPI. I put this into Power BI. I've also have a sales analysis. And these are Excel spreadsheets that I used with Dynamics queries. And I took the queries and exposed them to OData web services, and then used that to connect to my spreadsheet, and then imported this into Power BI as a favorite report here. So I can click on the sales analysis, for example, and open this up. And this gives me a chart of all of my, this is 5 years with the sales analysis history for my customers. So as this loads here, hopefully quickly, I'll have 3 charts looking at dollar amounts by customer spent, looking at products and quantities, and then dollar amounts across the current years from 2010 to 2015. And these charts are interactive. So if I click on the Fabricam, for example, now it's updated the products that Fabricam has sold. So the highest number of quantities sold by Fabricam was this 1968-S, and this is the quantity of dollars that Fabricam sold by each year. Or if I went to Litware, I can click that and see an adjustment. And again, each of these update individually based upon the other chart in that process. Now, I'm going to jump back to Power BI. Another feature of Power BI is the natural language query that we can use. And again, this comes into play because of the ability of one user being able to pass, across different tools to be able to retrieve data from NAV in real time. In this Power BI, these reports can be refreshed from within SharePoint, or they can be scheduled. There's a scheduling tool with Power BI to schedule those. Now what I've jumped into is called question and answer with Power BI. So based upon those data sets that I've created for this various Excel spreadsheets I showed in the favorites, I've created some natural language queries. So I want to see days of payments outstanding by date. So when I click on that, it's using my account schedule KPIs, and it's showing me a line chart here. Now, from this point, I can show different types of charts. I can filter on different fields. And when I click on the fields here, these are the data fields that were exposed by the account schedule KPI service. And I'm going to click on I want to look at my actual changes, not at my numbers. So this is what my days of payments outstanding look like for 1 year. Maybe I want to filter on this to look at specific dates. So maybe I just want to look at July, actually through November. So I can do that. And then maybe I want to change the output of how this looks with natural language query. I've got a line chart. I could do a bar chart here, as well I could do a clustered column chart. So you have all kinds of visualization capabilities that you can use with this O authorization that is now supported in NAV. And you see how fluid we can pass from Office 365 to Dynamics CRM to Microsoft Dynamics NAV, as well as to Power BI. So as you can see, single sign-on is the key here. It allows you to pass seamlessly from the various products, giving you real-time Office 365 and Power BI at your fingertips. And using all of this is using the Microsoft Dynamics NAV and Office 365 authentication. Now the next piece I want to introduce is about document reporting. And what we've done here is allow you now to design, either partners or customers can design your out-facing documents, sales invoices, the example we used today, to be able to design those in Word. And so you know, it's easy self-service. You no longer have to go into the development environment to change the look and feel of customer-facing documents. And you know, this works very well with the multi-tenancy. It was introduced in NAV 2013 because we can set these reports by company. And we do this through a new session that is called Report Layout Selection, that we can select by company, and then whether we want our reports to be RDLC, Word, or we can have both of those that we can use. So let's take a look now at the Word. And I'm logged in now as Spencer L. And notice he is in the order of processing role center versus the SmallMedium profile that Veronica was logged into. And what I want to look at here is report layout, selection. And notice this new session will come up with, you can select your company name, and it gives you all the various reports for that company. Now, I'm just going to select, in the demo environment, they've created an example of the sales invoice for 1306. Now, I can actually select this report here to say run this as RDLC, and I'm going to actually run the report. Whoops, that's not the one I wanted to do. Let's say like that, and we'll run the report, and we'll just preview it. So this will show what the report looks like in just the standard RDLC that you're very familiar with. And you would have to go to your partner or to a developer on staff to actually customize this report. So what we have the ability to do here now is to say that we want to use a Word built-in. So this is the built-in format that was provided for Word. Let's take a look at that. Before I actually show you, I went out to the Word store of various documents. So this is what it looks like just basically out of the box. And the XML data elements are created for this specific document. And what I can do now is say I want a custom layout, and I'm actually going to select here on my custom layout my Rust Word layout. So before we actually run this report, let's edit it. And you'll notice that when I edit it here, it's actually going to launch Word. And one of the things you have to do, and I've had the question from other customers and partners, you know, ZetaDocs Express did some enhancements as well. I'm sorry, Jet Reports Express did some enhancements as well to doing Word documents. I'm showing you the out-of-the-box what's provided with Word and putting the developer add-in here. And what this allows us to do with the developer add-in is take this XML mapping, and this is the actual data elements and fields tied to this specific sales invoice that are provided. And to simply, all you have to do to modify this is put your cursor, for example, here, let's say under customer address 1, and then we can select that customer address 1, insert content in plain text, and that's how you actually insert that over into the document. Now, keep in mind that these layouts, that they can be redesigned. So let's, for example, I'm going to take the bottom portion here. I'm going to take this part of the document as well as this part of the document, and I'm going to select here a different layout. We'll do it in blue. We'll select this one in blue, and maybe we'll take this one and put it in pink. And again, you can bold. Anything you do in Word, you can do with this document. I'm actually going to save this now and say save. And yes, I want to import it. And now that I've imported it, I can simply run my report, and my changes will be provided that I did in the edit, the layout. And we'll open this in, and now you can see my changes to the document. So very easy for end users to be able to customize the customer-facing documents in Dynamics NAV 2015. So as you can see, you're familiar with Word. It's very easy to customize these documents. The layout is free-flowing, and it's basically what you see is what you're going to get. Now, there are limitations for the Microsoft Word. I mean, it's not suitable for complex precision layouts or large documents. There aren't conditions. For example, visibility is not supported in Word. Numbering formats limited to what's done in Dynamics NAV. And 2013 is required for layout changes in making this. Still keep in mind that the report definition language client-side control, RDLC, is still our main reporting story with Dynamics NAV. However, this allows you the ability to have a choice whether you will, and the RDLC is a good foundation. It definitely provides conditional and precision layouts, which the Word doesn't. And we are shipping new and simplified RDLC sales document reports. So, last but not least is the power to support. And this is around cache management and Microsoft Social Listening. So first, the Microsoft Social Listening, that's going to actually be released as part of Cumulative Update 3 in the month of January of 2015. So stay tuned for more information about that. What I can tell you is it's going to allow you to look at your customers and product sentiments using social listening to let you know what's said about customers and products in your organization. So that's what you have to look forward to with what we call MSL, Microsoft Social Listening. And again, stay tuned. Cumulative Update 3 in January. Now, cache management. As many of you know, in NAV 2013 R2, there was substantial work done around cache management. And a lot of it was around SEPA, Single European Payment Authority, that was implemented in Europe. And a lot of the enhancements that were made in 2013 R2 were made for other localizations and not North America. Now, in NAV 2015, there's been additional enhancements around electronic payment creation, and then the electronic payment registration, bank reconciliation, that's now available for North America, which wasn't in 2013 R2. As well as we also have a new bank data conversion service that's available, and this is a service that's on Azure that integrates with NAV out of the box, and they're kind of in between the bank service. They take the formats out of NAV, and then based upon the banks you deal with, they will convert them to the appropriate formats. And so you can send your bank files to them as well as receive bank files from the bank service. So let's take a look here. Actually, before we do that, I'll just talk a little more about this bank service file. Again, it was announced as part of 2015. It's through a company called AMC Consult. And for your first bank account that you would use, there would be no cost as long as they provide an integration to your bank. So there's no cost for the first customer from Microsoft Dynamics NAV. There would be for subsequent customers that you would add. So with that, I want to jump back over to Spencer here. And actually I want to close a couple of things down. So let's close down this Word document that we printed, and let's get out of the report layouts and go back to Spencer's Role Center. So in the idea of electronic payment creation, let's take a look at our payment journal and the enhancements that have been made there. And what this allows you to do is to keep better track of what you've actually exported and what you've sent to your bank for payments. So you'll notice new fields on this screen like has payment here, has payment export eras. There's a field here that's exported to the payment file. So if you run a suggested vendor payment, you can already see what's been exported so you don't accidentally duplicate what you sent to your bank. And then there's messages to recipients and bank recipient bank account information that gets added. So let's go ahead and run the suggest vendor payments. And I'm going to do this as of February the 1st of 2016 with my demo data. And I'm not going to skip exported payments already. And I will, another feature is calculating the posting date based upon the applied to document due date, as long as that date is after the payment run date. So I'm going to go ahead and generate my payments. And as when I do that here, you'll notice that in the export to payment file, I'm going to sort here on this column. I've got several transactions that I've already exported out to the bank. And so I would know that I wouldn't want to send those again to the bank, but I have control here in this credit transfer register. I can see that what's been sent out and the actual entries that were sent with each of these. So here I did a re-export of this same batch. So this one had 4 entries in it, and then I did a re-export here of 7 entries. And I can view those by clicking the entry transactions from that. Now, if I would delete these suggested vendor payments here, and if I go back to my suggest vendor payments again, and this time I say skip the exported payment transactions that have already been provided, and I'm going to extend my date out here to like 5/1 of 2016. And now is when I create this here, you'll notice that I won't get any transactions that have been sent to the bank already. So if I expand this field, exported, there's none available. And you'll notice that because I said applies the to document date to the posting date, any transactions after that date of February the 1st, which is my work date, it will actually make the apply to document date the posting date. For the ones that are all prior to that, it takes actually the work date of this application. So again, this is a way to manage these transactions. You don't actually have to post here. You can post during the reconciliation process. So now let's take a look at the Payment Reconciliation Journal, which has been added. So Payment Reconciliation Journals. And I'm going to open this up, this journal. And I've already imported here a bank transaction file. So I did an import bank transaction files. And I brought this file, bank WW, already into the application. And as you actually set up these new banks, you want to specify, that they're part of the bank export. And here what we have the ability to do is I'm going to delete these and re-import because we can actually show the automatic matching. So I've deleted those transactions out of this batch. I'm going to import the bank transactions. So import this file I received from my bank. And what I can do then is there's ways in this reconciliation. It goes through algorithms to match, and you can map text to an account. So if you had a rental payment or utilities you pay every month, and you have that in the description, you can automatically map that to the specific vendor account in the case of payment. And then when you say apply automatically, it goes through these pre-mappings. And then we'll use confidence levels to match. So we can see that, for example, the first 2 were matched with high confidence, and the next 2 were with low confidence. And I'll give you more information a little bit later if you want to dig deeper into this, because I know cash is key to everyone. This is some great functionality that can help you with actually applying, in this case, applying cash in Dynamics NAV. And there's also here the bank account reconciliation, which is side by side. And again, this was introduced in 2013 R2, but not available for North America. And now we have this capability available. So side by side, again, you can use the matching automatic. You can import bank statements, some of the similar type functionality that I showed in the Payment Reconciliation Journal as well.
Awesome.
So, as you can see, quite a bit here we discussed today in this webinar about Dynamics NAV 2015. We looked at areas of quick to implement through Rapid Start, easy to use through the tablet, the user experience, the simplicity with the small business profile, for smaller organizations that basic do sales and purchasing, the Office 365 integration, document reporting, and cash management. Now, here are some additional resources I encourage you to look at. On Microsoft Development Network, these are links to where you can read about all the application changes in NAV 2015, as well as the developer and IT pro changes, as well as also on Customer Source. You can access the product download of NAV 2015. And this is a perfect opportunity for you to go out and subscribe to an Azure virtual machine, an Azure trial account, and then download the bits and put those on that virtual machine in the cloud and experiment with Dynamics NAV 2015. We also have on Customer Source the e-learning that is available on the main page. And there currently are 10 e-learnings, as you can see listed here on NAV 2015. In addition to that, there are 65 NAV 2009 e-learnings. There are 11 NAV 2013 R2 and 21 NAV 2013 e-learnings. And a lot of these go backwards compatible. For example, in NAV 2013 R2, there's like CRM, there's service management. So again, you can gain a lot of information, not only about NAV 2015 on e-learning, but also about previous versions. And again, that functionality carries forward. So I'd like to thank you for your business as customers. And Suzanne, I'm ready now to turn it over for questions. Thank you very much for your attendance.
Thanks so much, Tom. Appreciate it. I think we had one question come in. I know we're running up at the top of the hour, guys, so if you have to jump, we will definitely send you a link to the recording as well as to the resources that Tom just pointed out. So one question that came up was about displaying invoice totals in NAV 2015. Can you just kind of repeat what you had stated there? I believe that's possible.
Sure. So the invoice totals in the North American localization on 2015 do not show up when you open up an order document, purchase order, sales order. They do not show up. And again, my understanding the reason for that was because of the sales tax that's in North America. However, if you go to the small business profile, that area, those sales invoices that we have there and the purchase invoices, they do have the totals on them. So if you use those mini forms, you'll see the totals. The other thing you can do is there is a blog that's out on Microsoft Dynamics site that talks about how a partner or a customer that has development expertise can actually add that invoice total into the North American orders and invoices.
Great.
So, any other questions about that, Suzanne?
No, I think that was it. And then the rest is just information on the links to the e-learning, which we will definitely get to you. I've got a copy of the presentation. So we'll do that in our follow-up. I do want to thank everybody for setting aside time out of their busy day for this webinar. We hope you consider it time well spent to help us to continue to offer value. I ask that you take a few minutes more to give us your feedback and also suggest what other topics you would like covered in future Lunch and Learn webinars. Simply email your comments to info@archerpoint.com. That's info@archerpoint.com. And I think that we're talking about doing a little deeper dive on the bank rec improvements in 2015 in November. So more to come on that. Thanks again, Tom, so much for your time. We appreciate everybody's